Mitzrayim, the nation that bragged that no slave ever escaped its borders, stood by as the entire Jewish nation marched out into the Midbar. But then, within a few short days, the Jewish nation found themselves trapped against the sea. The Pasuk tells us that Hashem split that sea with an eastern wind. And the Ramban is troubled by why did Hashem see fit to split the Yam with an eastern wind. Explains the Ramban that this was all part of the plan. The Ramban explains that night Hashem began blowing a wind, and that wind became stronger and stronger. As the night wore on, that wind began cutting out furrows deep into the sea. Those furrows became deeper and deeper until by the morning there were 12 distinct parts. The Ramban explains the reason why Hashem designed that method to split the sea was so that the Mitzrim could make a mistake. So that the Mitzrim could look at the Yam and say, I get it. It was the wind that did it. It wasn't God. It wasn't a miracle. It was just the wind. Even though, explains the Ramban, the wind clearly can't do that. It can't split the sea and certainly not into 12 parts. They didn't pay attention even to that, Machmas Rov Tavosam Laralahem, because of their tremendous desire to hurt the Jews. And the question that begs being asked upon this Ramban is, how is it possible? How could thinking, rational people look at the most overt, obvious miracle and say it was the wind? And I believe that the answer to this question is based on understanding the human being. To allow for free will, Hashem designed the human being in a manner that the human being can believe exactly that which he wants to believe. To prevent man from being an automaton, and to allow man to be able to choose, Hashem designed the human with a unique capacity, the ability to believe exactly what I want. And if a person doesn't want to believe the most obvious, overt miracle, won't change his belief, the proof in the pudding is the Mitzrim. The Mitzrim saw the greatest revelation of Hashem's hand. They saw literally the splitting of the sea, and they said, it was the wind that did it, nothing miraculous over here. And I believe that this Ramban is very telling and very pertinent to our own lives. If a person wants to grow in belief, the critical ingredient that must be there is honesty. If a person opens his eyes and sees a sunrise, if the person opens his eyes and sees the magnitude of this world, the beauty, the order, he sees miracles right in front of his eyes. But an evolutionist can look at this very same world and say, whatever, it just evolved, one lucky roll of the cosmic dice, and we're all here. And what the Ramban is teaching us is that Hashem designed the human that way to allow for free will. If a person is critically honest, if a person puts away his agenda, his mind's eye will tell him quite clearly what's going on. But if a person is not honest, he can live through the most overt, obvious miracles and never see them, because Hashem designed the human with a capacity to believe exactly what he wants to believe.